I'm so riled up. What was I talking about?
Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm really excited this time. My good friend, and y'all have heard me on this show mention Mark Griffith several times. Well, he's honored us by coming in here, and we're going to get to interview the best criminal defense attorney that I have ever come in contact with. I might even say the whole state of Texas, but I haven't come in contact with anybody.
That's quite the compliment.
Mark, tell everybody hi.
Hello, everybody.
Where's your office at? Let's get some of the preliminaries out of the way. What, you think that'd be better?
Yeah, 108 West Main, right across from the historic courthouse. Been practicing law 27 years, and been rubbing up against and bumping up against
corruption
and those that have forgot their public servants and only believe in power.
Yeah. And it's brutally obvious from those guys too, how they conduct their business and how they conduct themselves in public and in private. As you know, you've told me some things that they've said to you in the courtroom that's highly disrespectful. Huh. And I will tell you, I was a leader in the Marine Corps, just like you were a leader in your profession too. If somebody did that that worked for me and did that to a person, regardless of what side of the argument they on, they wouldn't work for me anymore. That's just, you're not going to disrespect, because really you guys are the last bastion of professionalism in the courtroom. That's what it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. Both sides.
Both sides.
And I've been cursed by a prosecutor while the judge heard it. Not a single thing happened.
Yeah.
I have had a child witness say that the prosecutor coached me at recess to change my story and pointed the prosecutor out right in front of the jury, and absolutely nothing happened to that prosecutor. That's tampering with an evidence.
Oh, yeah.
Tampering with a witness.
Yeah, that's third-degree felony, by the way.
And let me tell you, for 27 years, I've been fighting this fight.
I know.
And we are on the precipice of moving into, we ain't even been in the 20th century. Lisa will put us in the 21st century.
Yeah. As a practicing kick-ass, I had somebody call me the other day and says he's working in your team, and I won't mention his name on here unless you're comfortable.
No.
But he said, we are kicking ass. And when that means Mark's team is kicking ass. And
I'm surrounded by a good boss knows to surround himself with people smarter than he is. And
it's ironic. I said the same thing last night.
That's what I've done.
Yeah. You've got nothing but professionals over there. I
got warriors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they're fighters. I don't mind you mentioning your lawyers there, because every one of them is top notch. Every one of them has the heart and has the moral integrity to fight for their client. You want to mention their names?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
Chad Hughes.
Hey, Chad.
Good to see you, Chad.
Yeah, brother.
We got Sarah Jacobs, who is got no backup in her whatsoever when it comes to the client we're representing. We've got Mackenzie Keene.
Yes. Yeah.
She's new, but
she's already winning as second chair, I think, right?
Oh, she hadn't lost.
Hasn't lost?
No, she has not lost.
What a record.
And Temple Ramming.
Hey, Temple, and hey, Sarah.
Hey,
Mackenzie.
everybody.
Hey, and Temple's dad too. Let's just mention Larry.
Yeah, I would like to ask for prayers for Temple's dad. Maybe Temple doesn't want me to say why, but please pray for his father. He's in need of prayers right now.
And his dad's a former Marine too, and
Yes, he is.
he reaches out to me all the time, and that's a great family. I mean, that pedigree is something, you know.
Oh, Temple is salt of the earth.
And smart. Holy cow!
Yeah.
You know, he's sharp. He's brutally fast with his decisions, and you're a fortunate guy, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. This I started officing out of my truck 27 years ago,
Really?
and my phone rang one way for personal calls and one way for business.
I remember when you could do that.
And I would say, "Hey, I'll come meet you."
Yeah.
And my dreams come true, and that is a stable of trial warriors, not lawyers, warriors.
Yeah.
That are not afraid to bump up against and burn bridges of people with alleged power who are abusing that power.
Yeah. Yeah. Self-alleged power.
And my representation of you will go down as one of the highlights of my career, because it wasn't a prosecution, it was a political persecution.
Yeah, it was a persecution. You're exactly right. You know, let me give them a little bit of how we even met.
Okay.
So, if y'all have ever stood jury duty in this county, it's kind of like a cattle call. The lady sends out, maybe 200 subpoenas, I guess. They're jury summons is what they're called. And then those people, maybe you get 50 or 60 people that will show up. Well, I had a jury summons 20 years ago, and I was a new police officer. And at that time, I didn't have any respect for criminal defense lawyers. But I didn't, I never burned any bridges. I never treated anybody disrespectfully. But inside, I didn't really have any. I'm a cop. I'm a new cop. So, to make a long story short, I got jury summons, and I'm sitting there in the jury, and they have several lawyers get up there. There's going to be several cases that are going to be heard. One of the lawyers that got up there was Mark Griffith, and that's the first time I ever heard your name or ever saw you. And you were trying to explain to the jury, about this guy ran over a deer. And I don't know if I never got selected for the jury, but you were representing this guy who ran over a deer. He was being charged with some ridiculous thing. It wasn't that steep of a charge, but when you were up there talking to the jury, the potential jury, us, you were giving that guy like he was going up for capital murder. And I said right then, if I ever need a criminal defense lawyer, it's going to be Mark Griffith. And I've told you the story before.
Well, because to each of my clients, whether it be a Class B misdemeanor or a 25 to life case, that is the most important thing in their life.
Yeah.
And it needs to be treated as such.
And you do that, though. And I don't see how you can continue to shoulder that burden of these, because everybody's got a burden that comes to see you.
I was born a fighter.
No. I'm gonna try to get your picture of your Gold Gloves picture when I go to post this. He's been a fighter from a long time, So I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, I think your personality. Some people are made to do what you're doing.
I think God placed me in the exact career I should be in.
Without a doubt. So let's fast forward from that time when you were talking to the jury and I was there. I didn't get selected because probably, and no one wants a cop as a juror sometimes, but they do now because shit, I'll volunteer for a jury now. But 20 years later, the DA's office here in Ellis County was having a propensity to getting rid of political I guess enemies, political enemies, and police officers in general. And they were bringing charges against police officers. And if the police officer would turn in his police license, you know, permanently turn in his police license,
Charges would be dismissed.
charges would be dismissed. And they got several people. Well, they came after me because I was involved with this thing with Carol Bush, and we're not going to get too deep in this, but they came after me, and I went to Mark, and I was explaining to him what was going on, and it really started out. I mean, it was a Class A, but it was a $500 bond. It really wasn't that big of a deal. They were making it a big deal, but if they would have just left it with that, I wouldn't have these feelings, and you probably wouldn't have these feelings, but they just kept stacking and making shit up.
And here's the deal. After 27 years experience, they kept making stuff up because you kept bonding out of jail. And Ann Montgomery.
Yes. Who's, by the way, right now
running for
that
office, told a bondsman, I hope you got all your money because I am going to break him.
Yeah. And she did.
And nowhere in a prosecutor's oath, they knew there was never probable cause. I mean, truthfully, there was never even reasonable suspicion. What this was a political persecution. They were trying to wear him down to where he'd have to sit in jail for a long time, and ultimately take the deal that many have before. I'm tired of jail. Get me out. I need to be with my wife and my family.
Yep.
And I saw that happening after the second arrest. And
it was just getting started after the second.
And I told you, I said, expect more.
Second arrest came almost a year after the first arrest. And then they wanted to do a felony now because I hadn't given up. I hadn't turned in my license yet. And you met me at Midlothian Police Department, if you remember, and you got me, you know, my wife was able to bond us out then. My wife had a job still at that time. Then they came after me four more times. Four more times, Mark. Do you remember?
Times.
So that was an $85,000 worth of bond. $8,000. I'd already sold my dad's car. I'd already refinanced my house. My wife had already lost her job. And I could go on and on and on. And they knew that.
And I know how important your dad's stuff was too.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can't get his vehicle back, you know, but as a man, I couldn't drive around in my dad's, it was a nice car, Lexus, knowing that, well, let me get there. So what had happened is Mark come see me in when they brought me into the jail the third time on 4 warrants. He says, how are you going to pay for this? I said, I'm not. I'm going to have to sit here. Mark went up, and you don't mind me telling the whole truth, do you?
This is about the truth.
Yeah. So it's a little emotional for me. Mark went to the bail bondsman, Dusty Autry, and paid out of his pocket half of my bond, $4,000. And got Dusty Autry to allow my wife and I to make payments on the other $4,000. Mark could have just said, you know, we're done. You know, I mean, he's in a business. He's not in a charity business. He's in the lawmaking business, and that business is to get paid for what he is worth. And for him to come bail me out, brother, you know, I've told you this, but I'll never be able to, you know, repay that money. Yes, there's going to be a time when I can repay the money, but I'll never be able to repay because you didn't ask me to repay that. You did that out of your heart. And people don't see this in criminal defense attorneys.
Well, I tell you why, because I'd already fallen in love with you, which I do with my clients. But you were a different case. I saw exactly what was happening through the corrupt district attorney's office. And hell, if I'd had to sell my truck, I would have to bond you out.
And I know you would. And I can't stress it enough for you guys. The bond that I have with Mark and I have with Dan is no different than being in a fighting hole. We don't call them foxholes in the Marine Corps, but in a fighting hole with a guy who's willing to take a bullet for you because that's it. He walked the walk. I mean, he literally walked the walk, and I'm not used to people giving me things. When I left home, I was self-supporting. And I tell people who try to give me discounts to eat, my wife and I'll tell them, look, you're not giving me a discount because I'm a cop. I get paid too. If I come in here, it's because I have the money to come in here to eat. If I don't come in here to eat, it's because I don't have the money, but you're not going to pay for my, And so that's the way that I've lived my whole life until I needed somebody. And I never needed anybody like I needed you, Mark, and man.
Well, Dan played a huge part in this. Dan Gus did.
Well, we talked about the Lord putting us, him putting you in this career for a reason.
Yep.
Well, I think that reason manifested itself and culminated itself. Your reason, and it's Esther 4-14, I think it says, perhaps you were created for just this moment. That's pretty powerful, brother.
And I am, again, I can't imagine what will come next, but you will be the most memorable client that I have ever represented, because I knew from the start it was a political persecution. I knew from the start that this had nothing to do with you having done any wrongdoing. It was you also were bumping up against public servants who, in this county, just many get ate up with the power of their position, and nowhere worse than the district attorney's office.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And I've been fighting them for 27 years. And my wife said, "Are you tired?" I said, "Nope."
And I was lucky that you weren't tired.
I'm not tired.
It was like it was like your whole career pointed you to this one case, because I mean, you had to get a hold of Brian Ingram. He's been on here already too, and discussed his part in this. Dan Gus, you sent me to Dan Gus on the civil side.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize there was that many, and it's kind of shameful, but I didn't realize there was that many talented people in Ellis County that truly cared.
I would say everybody in my firm, and I referred you to Dan for a reason.
Yeah?
I knew his heart.
Oh my God. Yeah, we tricked him a little bit.
No, I knew his heart. I knew his heart.
Dan never asked me for a penny. He's in, he's over $100,000, and he's never asked me for a penny. Now, if I die and I guess my insurance paid off, obviously I want people like you guys paid off. But
I don't need to be paid off.
Well, I know you don't, but I'm still a man, and we've discussed this,
I know.
And
I know you're hard-headed.
Well, that gets me where I am at today, though, just being that way.
Yeah.
But we got some other things, some other irons in the fire that hopefully will be fruitful. And again, it's our brother Dan.
Yeah.
He's leading the charge on this.
Absolutely. And
So-
you couldn't have a better one. And civil,
Oh yeah.
I don't send anybody to anybody but Dan with regards to a civil matter.
Oh, yeah.
That dude's brilliant.
Brilliant. Hey guys, let me we had the Fabbies come in. They're going to be in the audience. TJ's over there acting like no one can see him, Hey TJ. And
What's up?
Ashley, hi.
What's up, TJ?
Is that Jimmy? Hey Jimmy. Is this cool? You don't know yet, do you? They, they live over at Sardis, right?
Close to Sardis.
Yeah.
Lone
Lonell. His daddy was a Marine, James Fabby, and he also worked for I met him at the SO. Your dad at the SO. That's how I ended up meeting him. But TJ's run for several statewide offices, or one office, but several times, right? But so he's TJ.
And that's one of the reasons I'm here. TJ should have been elected. It is time for the voters to be educated by people who are dealing with, on a daily basis, the candidates for Ellis County District Attorney and County Court at Law number 3. And I have been.
Well, let's discuss the DA's race right now. Right now, there's Lisa Martinez.
And if we don't, if the voting public doesn't come out en masse and vote for her and send a huge message to a woman who wanted to break a man who had done nothing wrong. And let me make this clear. When I say did nothing wrong, all cases were dismissed. Every one of them. Yep. And at one point, he got sick over the stress of this and had 2 heart attacks. And they thought that would be a fun time to arrest his wife while we were in court.
Trying to kill me.
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah. He won't quit. Let's kill him.
I can't disagree with that. And
but you weren't gonna let that happen, though.
Nope.
You even went down on my wife's thing and paid my wife's bond.
I did.
So
I did. She hadn't done anything wrong either. She was extra leverage that they were going to try to use with no evidence to convince you to give up your police officer's license and never run for public office again, because what they don't like is public officials who will call other public officials out. And you know what? That's our job as citizens, to call, we are the checks and balances of those in power.
Oh, absolutely.
And if the day, evil prospers when good men sit by and do nothing. I ain't sitting by. I'm 57 years in this county, 54 years in this county, 27 as a lawyer. I love this county, and it's time for us to move out of the 19th century with regards to justice into the 21st century. And I will tell you, Ann Montgomery was part of every bit of the persecution of an innocent man, the man I'm sitting next to. And what I want the voters to know is, if she's elected, you could be next. Don't dare raise your voice against her or her office, or you could be next.
Yeah.
Lisa Martinez, heart of gold. She's been
honest,
a prosecutor with ethics, which I will never be able to say about Ann Montgomery. She's also been a defense attorney.
Who Lisa has.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ann, no. Absolutely not.
They said Ann hasn't even tried a case.
Well, I can guarantee you she tries forfeiture cases, but she has never tried a criminal case that I'm aware of, and I would welcome the opportunity to try a case against Ann Montgomery.
Yeah, and forfeiture cases are not something that I like at all.
And the law's changing on that.
As it should be.
Because it's governmental theft.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. And it's governmental theft at the local level. At the local level.
At the local level that affects all the voters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if it doesn't affect you particularly, it's going to affect somebody you know, it's going to affect somebody you like, or it's going to affect somebody you love.
Right.
And if you vote for Ann Montgomery, what you're voting for is corruption as usual, abuse of power as usual. Let's not have a veterans court. Though I went to Ennis and watched the forum, and real quickly she said, "I'm in favor of veterans court." And it wasn't a question and answer forum, but I would sure like to have raised my hand and said, haven't you been the chief assistant to Patrick Wilson for all this time? Where Patrick Wilson has said, not only are we not going to create one here, even if you qualify, you're allowed to be accepted in contiguous counties. Dallas, my firm have had several that qualified. These are people that fought for the freedoms, the Constitution that comes alive in the courtroom. PTSD, need help, and Patrick Wilson, with Ann Montgomery as his right hand, has said, nope, not going to do it. Well, what about a mental health court? Nope, not going to do it.
Elect me and I'll do it.
Well, what about she's saying what she
The voters want to hear.
wants the voters to hear, but I promise you there is nothing genuine about that statement. She's a politician. She has no business being our new district and county attorney. Are we going to stay where we are? And that's in quicksand and we're sinking.
Yeah, and I've said on here before, she doesn't even deserve to be a lawyer, much less a DA. She should be in prison. That's what she should be. And I know you guys, for the most part, you just live your life and you pay your house payment. You really don't understand what goes on at the local level. That office, that whole office from top to bottom is corrupt. If it's not the top two in that office, it's the bottom guy who swallowed the Kool-Aid from the top guy. It's it's toxic. It's toxic in there. The only way
it is toxic. And when you've got many law enforcement agencies who cannot stand the district attorney, that tells you something about how the district attorney is running his office. Yeah. And I promise you, Ann Montgomery will either be as bad or worse than Patrick Wilson. And this county cannot stand that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, they can't. We can't afford it.
No. And the voters can't afford it.
Yeah. Because it could.
Because here's the deal. I've had cases where the verdict came back in less than 2 minutes, not guilty. There was no evidence of guilt. I call those.
But that guy's out of $60,000.
And the charge, it's gonna. Did he get away with something?
Right. Do you have a slick lawyer?
He didn't get away with something. 12 good citizens of this jury heard all the evidence, and when you get a 2-minute or a 4-minute verdict, that's not finding somebody not guilty. That's sending a message. What are you doing, DA? This person is innocent.
Yeah. I don't know that they care.
They don't. You have my word. They don't.
Yeah. No, they're just breaking these people. They got the weight of the state.
Now, are there people that are guilty, should be prosecuted to the hilt and let the jury make the decision? Absolutely. I'm not here saying that everybody I represent is innocent. I am saying that everybody I represent is going to get every constitutional right they're entitled to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the problem is, with the situation that developed with Mike, he didn't violate any law. They violated the Constitution by continually arresting him, causing him 2 heart attacks, then arresting his wife under no grounds whatsoever, all that were proven to be lies. And if there had been any investigation, the DA would have known that. And I do believe in my heart the DA knew that.
Oh yeah. 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 You knew it, Patrick. Piece of shit. Sorry for the language, but and you know he's watching this, Mark. So
Good. I hope you understand everything I'm saying about your office.
yeah, me too.
And I will continue to bump up against you until the day you walk out.
Yeah. Remember, it's only defamation if it ain't true. So we call it like this. Let's talk about Vance Hines. That's the other turd in that office that doesn't need to be anything other than a crossing guard. And I'm not sure he qualifies for that.
I'm going to narrow this down to one statement that Dan said. He said at a deposition when they were trying to civilly remove you from office. And remind me how fast that verdict was.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yep.
5 minutes.
To go around the table for four charges.
For 4 charges. And the jury came out and hugged and cried with Mike when it was over. That was the civil removal they tried.
The second civil removal.
Yeah. Boy, I'm so riled up. What was I talking about?
Vance Hines. See, I'm going to have to colorize this because his face is getting red.
Yeah, you might have to. No, hell, leave it red.
It's who we are.
Vance Hines, a quote he gave at a deposition is, "I'm just doing my job." Yeah. Well, when you're doing your job...
That's what the SS said to the Hitler, too. Hey, I was just doing my job.
When you're doing your job and you surrender your ethics, your character, and your integrity, I got no time for you, and neither should the voters.
That's right.
This man has no business on any bench anywhere, because what he's done is he's been working in that corrupt environment, and the last thing, if a voter's child is in that court, the last thing you want is somebody who has been drinking the Kool-Aid, and the Kool-Aid is corruption.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Mark, I totally think that Vance, in his mind, thought that I was bad or dirty in some way, and that he will do anything, to please his master. And because Mike's got to be dirty on something, I'll just try to do this. I mean, it's kind of hard.
I'm not giving him that credit. I'm sorry, I'm not. When you surrender your character and integrity,
you can't get it back.
I got nothing to say for you.
Yeah.
And
he's running for judge.
And
he's going to be making decisions over people's
lives.
It's going to be a criminal court.
And lives and freedom. And first off, he has absolutely no judicial experience. Second off, he's doing civil work in the DA's office. This is a criminal court only.
Yeah.
Joe Gallo, that's all he's ever done is criminal, both prosecution and defense, and has been successful at both. He's going to call balls and strikes.
He's honorable too.
And he's not going to care who wins. He's not going to give favors to the DA so that they can have an upper hand. He's going to sit in there and do what a judge is supposed to do, and that's called balls and strikes. And that is the epitome of what a judge should be. And his temperament is perfect for a judge. I get yelled at often by judges because they don't like how zealous I advocate for my client. Well, sorry about that. It's going to continue.
I love you,
I
man.
mean, it's just
I know.
I'm sick of the corruption, and 2 votes could change all of that.
I mean, we're on the edge of having a non-corrupt county.
Absolutely.
It just takes the guys to get out and vote. And believe me, when we say every vote counts, we're not kidding
No,
you.
every vote counts.
This one's going to come close. And let me tell you why I think, and this is a personal, and I've talked to some other people, but they'll have to tell you if it's how they think. I'm married to a Martinez. So in Texas, in Ellis County, I think it's going to come down. If you don't know the candidates, I'm afraid that the people who are in this county will vote for the Anglo-Saxon name, Montgomery.
I'd like to think better of the county, but
I do too.
Um,
But what do you do when you see 2 names on a ballot and you don't know either one of them?
I don't vote.
Well, you don't have that choice now because of
No,
those.
I don't vote for those. If I don't know intimately who I'm voting for and why, I leave those bubbles blank. But I will tell you, there's 2 bubbles I ain't leaving blank.
Amen. Amen.
And it's going to be
Who, Lisa?
who Lisa Martinez, and I may bubble it 15 times, and Joe Gallo, and I may do the same for him.
That's right.
And there's going to be fans of the district attorney's office who are going to say, well, what else would a defense attorney say? A defense attorney would say the Constitution belongs in this county. The
It belongs to the
Constitution
people.
is alive for the people.
Yep.
It is time to quit aborting the Constitution out of the DA's office. And no better case exemplifies the abortion of the Constitution and the absolutely ignoring it than the case I handled for Mike.
Yeah. And I'm a cop. I know the law. That didn't stop him.
No, nothing was going to stop him because you bumped up against this little clique of power. And I tell you what, this little clique of power needs to go.
It's going. It's going. I think we're only down to 1 more guy. Aren't we? Well, actually 2. Just Patrick out and get Lisa in. And then we're going to have...
Oh, and Joe.
And get Joe in. And we'll have an honorable department, for law enforcement. I mean, for the people. Because if y'all don't know this, one, I'm going to say this for Mark because he beat it into me. Don't say nothing. Don't say anything. If you ever arrested for anything, don't say anything. Say, I want to see Mark Griffith or your defense lawyer. Never say anything. And I'm a cop. Because what we will do is if we think you're guilty, we're going to lie to you, and it's totally legal to get you to say what we want you to say. So don't say anything. See your attorney and exercise your constitutional rights to silence. And I think Ron White says, is that Ron White? That says I had a right to remain
but not
silent.
the ability.
But I didn't have the ability. That was Mike Jones. But and how many times did you call me? I'm fixing to fire you or something like that. I was like, Mark, I'm sorry, man. You told me that before.
Yeah, I do.
I love this guy, man. But he had a firecracker on his hands, and he's a firecracker, and that just I loved him to death, man.
What I like about the outcome of this is, one, I don't like anything leading up to the outcome because it was all corrupt, politically based. It was not a prosecution. It was a persecution, a witch hunt. But what I do like about it is Mike Jones is running unopposed.
Yeah, I wouldn't have dreamed of that 3 years ago.
And Patrick Wilson is leaving the office. Please, voters of Ellis County, do not replace him with the exact same corruption.
Yeah.
And Ann Montgomery represents every bit of that.
100%. 100% she represents corruption.
Every bit of it.
Again, it's only defamation. And that's why I tell him, Mark, I said, yeah, I expect to get sued if I'm lying to y'all. Because you know who I'm talking about.
Well, I know who I'm talking about.
Exactly. So you know they would sue us if we were lying.
File that suit.
I ain't gonna do it because I got to pay our lawyers.
Truth is a defense, and I lived it.
Yeah.
I've lived it for 27 years. I promise y'all that the voters that are not familiar with the justice system, I'm in court almost every day. Mm-hmm. And this corruption has got to stop. Yeah. We are a laughing stock.
We are.
With regards to the level of, let me put it another way, the lack of sophistication and the lack of our prosecutors to follow their oath. And their oath is not to see that convictions are made. It is
or bankrupt people.
Or bankrupt or even try to kill somebody. It is that justice be done.
Yep. Period.
And in this case, they flipped it, ignored their oath, and went after a good man who had done nothing wrong. And he and I will be friends for life because...
we were shoulder to shoulder, brother.
And you never gave up. And I've had plenty of clients that gave up. He didn't give up. That's the type of client I love because...
Well, God sent us on this path.
I agree. Absolutely.
He doesn't send you on a path that you can't handle. Now, at times, I didn't think I was going to handle it.
But no, that's when we'd have to sit down and talk and say, you don't have to handle it, I will.
That's right. That's right. I even had a like Mark alluded to, I had a heart attack, and it was called the Widowmaker. And I never even lost consciousness because the Lord had me on this path. I don't know what he was trying to tell me on that one, but he got my attention, I'll tell you that. But the thing is there was not a minute in there that I thought that heart attack was going to kill me. Now, I thought the pneumonia I got in the hospital was going to kill me. And I'm going to tell them about that some other time, but are you satisfied with what we've told these people? You want?
Yeah,
your closing argument.
Be an educated voter. And I'm an insider. I work in the justice system and have for 27 years. It will be a catastrophe for justice and the Constitution for all citizens of Ellis County if Lisa Martinez is not our next DA. Ann Montgomery has no business truly being on the ballot. I guess anybody that pays a fee can get on a ballot.
That's how hard it is.
She ain't qualified. And think about this. The statement is to the bondsman, I hope you got all your money. We're going to break him. And
I'm the him.
Yeah, you are the him that they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But as I told you in other cases, prosecutors in that office I've had child witnesses after a recess change their testimony. And I go, wait a minute. I asked you that question before the recess, and that wasn't what you had said. Who told you to say that? And to the child's credit, twice in one trial, she pointed straight at the prosecutor and said she did. That's a felony. It's tampering with a witness. It's obstruction of justice. And
it's seeing that justice is done.
But it is a glimpse of the district attorney's office you have now. Lisa Martinez will clean it out. She is all for Veterans Court. She's for mental health court. And she's
awesome.
honorable. She's got integrity. She's never going to lose. There was a period of time where if you walked up into the DA's office, it had the oath. That's been taken down and a bunch of badges have been put up. Yeah. And I understand why. Nobody wants to see an oath they don't follow every day. Please understand that I'm in the fight. I'm not looking for a DA that I can run over. I have beat this DA's office in over 400 jury trials, 80 to 85%. It's not that, oh my gosh, this DA's office is full of such talented DAs, please get me another one. It's, I want my client to have a fair fight.
Period.
And our client is you.
It's guaranteed in the Constitution. It's guaranteed. In the highest level of law enforcement in this county is violating that Constitution.
Yeah, it's guaranteed in the Constitution. It ain't guaranteed in Ellis County as we sit right now.
I said the other day, you're innocent in this county until you run out of money. What y'all didn't know, and I'll finish this because I'll just keep rambling. But when it came down after I think my 9th felony or 8th felony or whatever it turned out to be, and I still didn't back out. They asked my lawyers, well, are you going to just stay? Yeah, no, we're in it. We're in it. Mark even at one time said, hey, I got a year of pro bono in front of me and I'll use every damn minute of it. So they didn't have a plan B. They expected me to quit. They expected you guys, they never dreamed you guys would come to my aid.
No, because they'll say it. Mark's all about the money. Let me tell you something. Mark's all about the justice and rubbing up against those who abuse their power, dishing out justice. And that's the DA's office we have right now. It's time for Ellis County to move into the 21st century. And without Lisa, we're not going to.
Yeah, we'll be respectful. Right, brother?
Yes, sir.
Let's see here. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
That's my jingle, man. But I got to come up with another jingle, and it's going to be The Fall of the Peacemakers by Molly Hatchet. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
That's badass. Thanks, everybody. Mark?
Thank y'all.